All right, looks like we're live. So,
All right,
welcome
perfect.
back to the live stream, y'all. It is the Trial and Error podcast with Brian and Fearless. On today's episode, when we get around to our conversation, we're going to discuss why most businesses fail in the first 5 years and talk about some common mistakes that business
Mm.
owners make. And we're going to be talking from a perspective of things that we experienced and seen. And so that's really what the conversation is. Tap in if you got questions or comments, go ahead and leave them and we'll respond to them on the air. And we're going to set it up eventually so that hopefully we can start bringing people into the live stream to kind of chop it up and talk about what their issues are. So now that's
Mm.
out of the way, Fearless, I'll hand it over to you. Let's go.
All right, no. So we were talking about we were just kind of discussing intro videos and stuff like that, or whatever. But either way, we'll touch on that in a minute. So the main thing that we were talking about before the of the show within itself is why do businesses fail within the first 5 years?
Uh-huh.
Um, here's the thing. I don't think that that's what's the word I'm looking for? Um, give me a word, bro. What word? What word? I don't think that that's by accident. I'll
No, it's
say
not.
that. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's
I don't. And I want to start it off by saying this. So if you look at NBA, NFL, any major sports where people get like a windfall of money, one of the things that you will always notice is that within 5 years of them actually retiring, they're broke. Think about that. Within 5 years, so they get millions upon millions of dollars to do whatever that sport is,
uh-huh.
only to at the end of it, you're broke. How does that happen? Well, the opposite also has the aversion effect as well, which is if you if you look at how long it takes for a person to succeed, Henry Ford, the creator of the Ford Enterprise,
Yeah.
said he was once asked if he lost everything today, how long would it take for him at that particular time? He said, "How long would it take for you to build back up what you've lost?" And without even thinking about it, he said 5 years. So it'd take me 5 years to lose everything and then
Mm-hmm.
build it right back up again. five
Right.
years. And I don't think that there's an accident there. Even a bamboo tree doesn't even start spreading its wings until 5 years of watering, feeding, sunlight, and all that stuff. You don't see anything. But underneath the soil, it's just sprouting all over the place. But it takes 5 years before you actually see the difference in what success will actually bring for the most part. I
Right.
think that the reason why most people fail is that you're still within that incubating period. You know what I mean? Like you're still in the infancy stage of building your company out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no secret of how I went from making what was it like not even $3,000 a month, and I had two full-time jobs to making $20,000 a month, damn near doing the same exact stuff, just from a different capacity.
Right.
There's no secret in that. You know what I mean? So one of the things that I talk about within the coaching aspect is perspective is everything. If you
Right.
look at things from a different perspective, I guarantee you, whatever like wherever you're sitting, you might think that it's probably not going to work. Well, it's not going to work because you're not going to work it. And if you don't do anything with it, then it's not going to do anything. And if you keep doing, unfortunately, the same stuff, you're going to keep getting the same exact results. But the one thing that I learned today, um, listening to Master P of all people, right? He said that the one thing that he was able to do more so than everybody else was stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If you think about what business is, whether it's business, personal, relationships, platonic, romantic, whatever they may be, it's consistency.
Right.
How consistent are you at whatever it is that you do? And so I think that the reason why a lot of these companies fail is a lack of consistency. Like you have to know that you're going to get shit on, especially in the early stages. You're not going to understand anything. Nothing's going to work right. And if it does work, it's gonna shit out on you after a while.
Right.
So then what do you have to do? You're gonna have to adapt to what's going on. And you're gonna have to consistently keep doing that, especially within that first five.
Right.
Even in a marriage. If I'm not mistaken, every book that I've read on marriages state the same exact thing. 5 years. They say that the first five is the hardest.
It is.
How is it that a lot of these marriages nowadays don't last 5 years? You know what I'm saying? Because when things start getting tough, people do what? They walk away because
Right.
that's their consistent behavior. So you don't, like I told you before, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So if your thing is to walk away from stuff, if you're willing to walk away from one thing, you'll walk away from something else. So go ahead though, bro.
So there's a couple of different points that I'm gonna try to remember it before ADHD
Yeah,
capture it and flees off. So
there you go.
first things first, with NBA players, I saw this podcast and it was Lou Williams, and he's a NBA player, and he's talking about exactly how NBA players go broke, and there's a lot of details into it because he's talking about how much agent fees actually are, how much you actually have to pay into like the NBA's retirement pension program, and all kinds of other fees, plus the taxes, plus all this other stuff. And the idea that they adapt to spending a certain amount because there's always a certain amount coming in. And once you retire, if you don't adjust your spending to match the decrease, if you have a decrease in like revenue from like sponsorships and money coming in your paycheck from the team, you end up outspending your savings. It's an amazing thing. I actually dropped it in our private chat so you can take a look at it. I don't know if we want to put it on the screen, but it's a little 4-minute clip. But basically, he's giving the inside game about how athletes go broke, and it's really kind of a fascinating thing.
Run it. Let's do it.
Well, I'm gonna run that in a second. A couple of things. So when you talk about the consistency piece, and it does tie into the conversation. So what happens is,
right, of course,
in my estimation, like with marriage, with anything, a lot of times the mastery of the business comes with mastering the boring shit, the stuff that you don't like to do,
mastering the mundane.
Yeah, right. And a lot of people do not we're not adapted for that level of consistency. You know what I'm saying? That's one end of it. The other end is I think the phrase is called hedonic adaptation. So
yeah, that's that hedonic where it's the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Yep, I got you. Yeah.
It's the tendency to return to a stable level of happiness after experiencing a major positive or negative event. That's why I used to tell parents when I was into the parent teaching stuff, your kid will adapt to any long-term punishment that you level. They'll just adapt eventually. So if you take away a computer, video game, and all this other stuff for 3 months, then within a couple of days, their new reality becomes me minus computer and video game. And then that stuff loses its ability to motivate the kid to do the right thing. It just loses its effect totally. And so we have a huge ability to do that. Kids are more adaptable than adults, but we end up adapting. That's why if somebody's depressed and they win the lottery, they're still going to return back to being depressed after all the fun of the lottery wears off. And now they're just depressed with a lot of money. And so that's the concept there. So there's a couple of different things at play, but I think a lot of times with business ownership, once the fun of being able to say you're an entrepreneur wears off and you got to get into the mundane stuff all the time, that's when people start phasing out. And then also it comes with revenue. Like when your revenue flattens out and you're making the same amount for actually doing more work to maintain the business, that's where people start checking out. And so that I'm saying all that to say there's a lot that goes into that mind state piece of it. And I'm fascinated by the fact that it does kind of cross over with what Lou Will was saying. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull this clip up here. Hopefully I don't have commercials in it. And there's the commercial. So I'm going to go ahead and play it now.
Okay.
And then we'll pause it as it goes through. Like, let me know if you want me to pause it, and then we could talk about the different pieces of what's being said.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So I'm going to share screen. Okay, don't show that again. All right. All right.
What's the average life in the NBA players? What's the average?
Can you hear that?
4 years. Wow.
Mhm.
4 years is the average lifespan of an NBA career, and it take us 5 years after that to go broke.
To go broke.
Easy numbers.
Pause.
Like this. You make $5 million.
All right.
How was it that I said the same exact
Right.
thing? Same exact thing. Or whatever. And again, I had never seen this episode, but again, there's something to that 5-year thing that will make or break you business-wise, personally, whatever. 5 years.
Yep.
That's it. If you think about it, I went from like I keep saying, I went from my credit being crappy. I went from all this stuff going on to having what was it, 750 at that time credit score, making at that time I think I was making like 14,000 a month, somewhere around there. Then I went up from there. But again, I was just like, dude, this is crazy. You know,
Right.
within how long? 5 to 7 years, what that can do to your psyche in general. Sorry, go ahead, go.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
2.5 of that gone. You got agent fees, probably another 50 of that gone. You got your dues. A lot of people don't know we got dues for the MBPA.
So
yeah,
what?
you got dues. So everybody put their money in the pot. So you figure you got 450 NBA players. I think the dues is 15 to 20 grand a year. Everybody put it in the pot. That's how we able to get our health care and all of that type of
I
shit.
didn't know that.
Then you got your personal staff. Financial advisor is probably 1%. Agent at a high number is gonna get 4%.
Right.
But you can negotiate from 1 to 4.
Okay.
So before you look up, you probably at 1.5 million off of 5 with nothing. And these Benzes that we keep talking about in these mansions and shit, these girlfriends and these Chanel bags. Before you know it, you not a millionaire no more.
Right.
You a high thousandaire. On paper, you can tell a motherfucker, fuck you, I'm a millionaire.
Right.
In real life, a lot of that pie gone. So again, and we 17, 18-year-old kids, these are our first experiences. It's gonna take us, I don't care what you go to school for, it's gonna take you 5-6 years of that experience to even realize what's happening to you. I was, hey, listen, man, I had a week. I bought a Ferrari and a Lamborghini in the same week, and I rationalized it with my financial advisor, and he was like, I can't legally tell you what to do with your money, but I don't think that's a good decision.
Right.
And I said, it's cool, I'll make a bunch of this shit.
So I'm pausing it there because one of the things we discussed back a couple episodes ago was having the people in your circle to check you and having the maturity that when the right people are saying, hey, we need to pump the brakes, having the maturity to be able to look and say, wait a minute, this person isn't just trying to rein me in or tell me what to do. They're trying to save me. I know one of the things this old interview with Allen Iverson, where he talks about how one of his agents actually saved him by making sure that he couldn't touch some of his money until he was in his 50s or 40s or 50s. He put a thing in there to keep him from being able to spend the money out, because otherwise he'd have been broke. And so I think Lawrence Taylor talked about the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. So every once in a while you have people, because I think I'm gonna get back into the video, but I think sometimes we get into the idea, especially as business owners, because business owners, a lot of times we are independent thinkers. We're kind of mavericks. And sometimes we confuse people telling us stuff we don't want to hear for being haters. Or they just hating on my success, hating on my success.
Right.
And
Yeah, for sure.
sometimes that person has an insight that you're not aware of. You know, the same, I heard this other day, the same problem, same mind that created the problem may not be the mind to solve the problem. It was something my wife,
correct.
It was something my wife had sent me. And so sometimes that outside voice is telling you exactly what you need to hear, but you ain't ready to receive that message yet. So it's interesting that he was talking about how his financial advisor said, legally, I can't tell you not to buy a Lamborghini and Ferrari in 1 week. I think but I'm just telling you it's a bad idea. So that's what I got to put in on that.
So, hey, so here's the other thing on that too. The one thing that he had also stated was, and I don't know if you recognize this, but record companies do the same exact thing, where they basically take all of these fees and these dues and all these things, and they put all that back on the artist. Yep. For them, they put it all back on the player. The NBA is not going to take care of you. You're going to take care of you by having all 450 of you put into this particular retirement fund. So then, therefore, the owners don't have to put up any of that money. The owners don't have, so they recoup a lot of that money back. And that's how they stay billionaires, because most of the time it's because they're not just giving you this money because they're for benevolent reasons. They're giving it to you because they're going to recoup that money back. And a lot of this stuff is a tax write-off. So and unfortunately, you can't write all that stuff off that they can write off.
Right.
So I think that in a lot of cases, what happens is that we start sitting around thinking, like he just said, they give me a $5 million. Now, again, that's for the most part average. They give me a $5 million contract. I'm a millionaire. Well, you got to think, bro, you live in the United States of America. That means half that money's gone by the taxes off the top, bro. You are not a millionaire. You still might be, but with half that money's gone. Half gone. So now instead of 5 million, it's only 2.5, right?
Right.
And then, like you said, all these other things you got to pay for that you're paying for out of pocket, and depending on the lifestyle that you already live. I know when I made my first, what was it, $10,000, man. So here's the thing. I learned early on when I was broke. I learned this thing. I had a propensity for reading, and I love to read. One of the things that I read was The Richest Man in Babylon. In The Richest Man in Babylon, George S. Clausen wrote these, I think it was like 7 different principles. One of those principles was to live below your means, okay? That meant that if you make $10,000, don't get a $9,500 house. That means go get yourself a $2,000 house if you're paying the bills on it. If you got all this money, that doesn't mean that you live up to that, right? That's number one. The second thing is that he said, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. So everything, even to this day, I will take anywhere from 1 to 30%. Anything that gets paid to me, I take 1 to 30%, depending on what it is, and I move that somewhere else. Right. That's my money. That's what I pay myself. I don't give that to the government. That's mine. Y'all can have this over here. Bills come out of that pile. If you need a loan, that comes out of that pile. Car, food, gas. Well, I don't pay. I have a Tesla, but whatever I have to pay for comes out of that pocket. But this over here, you don't get that. This is mine. Period. You see what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. So that's one of the things that I learned being broke. And again, like I keep saying to people, you don't get what you want. You get You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. So if you're a frugal individual when you're broke, you're going to be a frugal individual when you got money. If you just spend when you broke, when you get money, you're going to do the same thing, especially if you don't understand these concepts and these principles that kind of hold you going, or that hold you up. But I'm going to stop there, play the video, though.
All right. So what can I throw in one thing?
Go ahead.
You got your first.
Please.
When we hit our first, we got our first. It had to be, I think it was about 14,000. Like this is like the biggest. This is the biggest thing that we sold at one time. At the time up till that point is the first 14,000. And the mind game was we made our first 14,000. We had it in the bank. The mind game was, okay, so out of this 14,000, we had to pay ourselves. We had to pay our business because the business gets paid too. We had to pay ourselves. We had to pay the business. We had to pay taxes, and we had to pay to pay cost of operations. So we had to pay. We had jerseys, tournaments, and all the other stuff to pay for. And a lot of business owners do not understand when that first lump money comes in. Pay yourself, pay your business, set aside something for taxes, and that's where people get caught up because they end up spending all their money out of the pool of money that they need to allocate towards other things. And that's been a hard lesson. That was a hard lesson to learn. So, and the other side is
the
other side, real quick. The other side is with these NBA players, the thing he did say that I latched on to, these are 19, 20-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And your mind ain't fully developed at 19 or 20, no matter what all these laws say. Your mind as an adult doesn't fully form until you're 24 years old, and sometimes even older than that. And so you have the most impulsive people on the planet with what they feel like is unlimited amount of money. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Because they're not looking at taxes. They're not looking at here's the thing. Even when you have a business, kids, I know that you and I have read the same. What was that book? The Weekend Millionaire. Great book, by the way. One of the things that he talked about was, what did he talk about? He talked about not only paying yourself first, but he said most people's business acumen is that you get the money, right? So you sell a product or service, you get the money. The first thing that we do is go pay a bill, right? He said, no, the first thing you do is you pay yourself first. You always put aside that money. So I'm reading this. I'm like, yeah, great minds think alike, right? So that's the first thing that we do. You pay yourself, then you pay your business, then you pay all these other things. What people don't understand is that the government, the reason why, and again, I'm gonna repeat this and repeat it so people understand it. The government, the reason why we don't pay the government like every month when we get paid is because they know that most people are not going to pay them. If you actually look at your check and you know that you got to write that check out to the United States government and you have no idea where your money is going, it's a fact that most Americans will not pay taxes. They're not going to do that. So to stop that, what they did was they take it out of your check before you even get it.
Right.
That's how they stop that. So what you have to do is you have to think the same exact way that the government thinks. You got to take it out before anybody else touches it.
Yep.
And whatever's left over, that's what you give them. Or that's what you pay. You pay yourself first. And then whatever's left over, that's what you get. Listen, if somebody gave me $5, I'm taking 5 cents out of that. And I'm going to put that in with the rest of my other stuff. And then the rest of the $4.95, I will use that for bills and everything else. But that 5 cents is mine. Right? That 5 cents is still mine. So you have to consistently think that way, constantly with everything, because that's what stops people from being broke all the time. And when you don't have to ask people for money, because you automatically just have it ingrained in you, set aside 1 to 30%. And it's, again, I'd say 1 to 30. I'm not telling you to do 10 or 20 like I would do. I'm telling you to do what you can. And if you cannot save 1%, then you need to figure something else out.
Right.
Go grab some gloves. Go start opening up some trash cans. Dig in there for some cans if you need to. But figure it out. That's weird. I mean, unless you have some type of mental or physical disability where Social Security not helping or something like that, you ain't got no excuses of why y'all out here broke as shit. Ain't no excuses for that. None. But run the video unless you need something, unless you need to say something.
Last thing about the tax piece of it. The reason, and I know LLC
Yes,
people LLC people catch a lot of flack, and there's a lot of scam artists out there talking about LLCs the end all be all solution for everything. But people need to understand this. The U.S. tax code is the U.S. tax code as it's currently structured is meant to benefit business owners.
Yep.
That's the real. It benefits.
Yes.
And I am not
business owners. Yes.
I am not, and I'm not. This ain't no humble brag. This ain't me just talking shit. The U.S. tax code
brag.
is
brag.
The U.S. tax code is structured to benefit business owners, and you have to. And so, learning how to play the game, even if you don't own a business, learning how to play the game and learning the nuances of how the business code, the tax code is structured, will save you money in the long run. So a lot of people that will hype up this LLC and they don't really have any product to sell or anything, they kind of got it figured out, but the tax code is really made to benefit business owners. And fair or not fair, that's what it is. And so a lot of people don't necessarily grasp that. And so as a person who owns, I have 2 LLCs that actually are generating money for me, I get a benefit from the tax code. Now, depending on what's going on in the government, the benefit may be bigger or smaller, but I get more of a benefit than somebody that doesn't have anything like that, because I can write off a lot of stuff and depreciate that against my income. All right, so we're going back into the video.
Okay, awesome.
I did. But I was young.
What year was this? What year? You remember?
Man, I had to be 24. I had to be 24, 25 years old.
So it was like the 6th or 7th season?
2012. But no, like you want to enjoy some of this stuff too,
yeah,
bro.
You do.
Like you want to enjoy it. And so that's how athletes go broke. A lot of people think it's like you just got a reckless spending habit. Yeah. It ain't that we got reckless spending habits. We just got crazy overhead. And once the checks stop, it gets completely different. It's nobody sitting there giving you real numbers because it's coming in so fast. Money coming in so fast. That's just the contract. Like you might have a shoe deal, you might have some endorsements. So you feel like this shit is gonna be forever. It was a culture shock to me. The first week I didn't get a big check from being retired. Where it was like, I
gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah, like life has begun. Like I feel like my life really started when I retired, bro, because I never spent that much time at home. I never spent weeks at a time in my own crib.
So is that another reason where they say a lot of when athletes retire, they get a divorce too? Because now they home so much.
Hell yeah. You don't really know the woman you married. I'm from Atlanta.
Right.
If I'm playing for the Clippers, she might move with me, but I'm on the road 3-4 nights a week. I only got to deal with her for 2 nights at a time. Wow. You dig what I'm saying? I got to deal with her 2 nights at a time during the week. You know how we keep her happy? Keep sending her to the mall. That's how you keep her quiet. That's why it's okay. It's okay. I understand. It's a sacrifice. I'll stay home with the kids. Right. It's okay. You know why? Because she can shop in peace. Right. You ain't in her fucking ear. And you on the road doing whatever you doing. She ain't in your ear. Come home 2 days out that week, play family, and then you retire and you got to deal with this shit 24/7. Play house. Tough, you playing house. You on your best behavior. How about that?
And so I'm gonna pause it there. I know a lot of people are going to be turned off by the young man puts it, but this is the honest truth. Because if we're going to keep it 100%, Tom Brady did the same thing. That's why he retired and then unretired. And as a result of getting unretired, he ended up divorcing the richest model on the planet. And that's what happened. So he's talking about getting used to a certain lifestyle and then having to readjust your lifestyle to your new reality. And a lot of business owners, you start getting used to the business owner lifestyle. Eventually, the things that used to make you excited don't make you excited anymore. And now you have to enter this new reality. That's why a lot of people, when they make an exit on a business, and so for the people that don't know, when I say exit, Fearless knows what I'm talking about. When I say exit, that means you built a business and you sold it. Every good business, regardless of whether you ever want to sell the business, every good business should be built to be sold one day. Even if you don't want to. Because the only businesses that people want to buy are good businesses. Nobody wants to buy a bad business. So that's the benchmark. And so even people that have $1 million exits after founding their company, what do? They go take that money, chill for a little bit, and next thing you know, they launching a new venture. You could be 40, you could be 50, you could be 87 years old. They trying to launch a new venture because they get so acclimated to the business lifestyle that they can't exist without it. And that's what he's talking about. Now he's talking about, you retire as an NBA player, you retire as a pro athlete, you're off the road. Sometimes you get married. Sometimes they get married to somebody that they didn't have a relationship with before, prior to becoming a player, prior to becoming a superstar. And so now you're around this person all the time, and they're discovering new things that they didn't know because they didn't know this person until they changed their lifestyle, not before. And now they're having all the tension and all the stuff. And normally these are the problems that he's saying that he could just throw money at and they would go away. But now you have a limit of how much money you could allocate towards problems. And so now you up a creek. Like, this is game, y'all. This is game. He's giving game right here. And it matches for professional athletes, but also for business owners.
And not only that, another thing that he said too was that I found kind of interesting was that he said that he retired at 24. Think about that. I mean, when you're retiring at 24, and then that's when life starts to begin for you. Now, there's some people that they go into the NBA, around that time or whatever. But I mean, let's be honest. A lot of them are pretty young when they go in there, and again, they're going to spend amount of money and this and the other. And I think that in today's time, I think it's a lot easier for them to retire now because there's so many other opportunities to kind of what was that word? Pivot to something else. And still stay in the limelight. There's a little white dude named Professor. He's a basketball player. Well, he played for the and1 team.
Yep,
absolutely phenomenal. Wanted to go into the NBA, but they wouldn't mess with him. So what did he do? He created his own thing, just going out making videos. Actually, he was dressed up as like a superhero to go play basketball against people and just do them dirty. And now he built a whole entire brand just off of that. And the fun thing is that if he would have went into the NBA, I mean, dude, he would have eventually just got washed out like everybody else. And then he's sitting around waiting for something to happen. Whereas this young man went out, got it cracking on his own. And now this is something that he built for himself. In the NBA, you're playing off of somebody else's league.
Right.
Which means once you're done, you're done. And like you said, when that money stops coming, when that big check stops, bro, that sucks.
Right.
Like, man, that's something that it's going to take some time to get used to. And some of these guys do not get used to that.
Right.
And they oftentimes go off and get into other stuff that they shouldn't be into, but they're so used to. Think about during COVID, all them dudes that got indicted, football and basketball players, because they were broke.
Yeah.
And you would think, how are you guys broke with all that money? It's like, no, because again, some of them live paycheck to paycheck, just like you do too. And again, like I said, what I say before, when you live above your means, you have no idea what's going to happen to you. And they think, like he just said, they think that money is going to keep coming in no matter what.
Right.
No, that's the problem. There is a matter what. Unless you have a guaranteed, no, it doesn't work that way.
Well, and
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way.
well, and one thing, for one small correction, we got to put it out there because of public podcasts and stuff like that. He retired at 36, so it was a 17-year career.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
But 36 is still super young to be retired. Now, for an NBA player, for an NBA player, there's an off ramp. Like you could trade off, and some of these guys find brand new careers over in China. And China is a bigger basketball market, is a much bigger basketball market than the US. I know was it Klay Thompson? Huh?
Was it what was the other guy's name?
Stephon Marbury
from New York. Yeah,
Marbury.
Thank you.
Marbury is one of the biggest NBA, was like one of the biggest basketball stars in all of China. And I mean, NBA players, I know Klay Thompson had a deal with Anta, and Anta is one of the biggest tennis shoe brands in China. And so his money coming from Anta was silly just because it's such, you're talking about an audience of 1 billion people. And it's kind of a captive audience. But what I'm saying is the off ramp for NBA players, if they want to make that trade off, is go play overseas. WNBA players, professional women, have been doing that for years because the WNBA wasn't paying enough, and they had to supplement their income by playing overseas. And so that's the off ramp for a lot of players because the NBA checks slow down or they stop. You got to start negotiating for smaller and smaller contracts. The game is set up now where I'm about to get into more basketball nerd stuff, but the game is set up now where owning an NBA franchise is a status symbol for a lot of billionaires. They don't necessarily care about wins and losses. This is either a status symbol or business opportunity.
That's it.
In Dallas right now,
one of the two.
In Dallas right now, you got an owner. Her goal, she wants to marry an Adelson. If you know the name Adelson, Sheldon Adelson, before he passed, was one of the big casino guys in Las Vegas. Her goal was to try to get the Texas legislature to approve gambling so she could build a casino attached to the basketball arena. When now that doesn't look like it's an option, she's trying to tank the team so that she can have an opportunity. Because you can't just move a team that has a good market. You have to destroy the market to be able to move the team. She wants to move the team to Las Vegas where she can attach it to one of her casinos. And so she doesn't necessarily care about having a good team. Now there are riders and protections in the franchise agreement, I think, for NBA teams where an owner can't outright sabotage their team because it violates the agreement with the NBA. But you could do a heck of a whole lot behind the scenes, like raise ticket prices, which she's done, raise ticket prices on season fans, which she done, trade away the most beloved star that they've had in decades, and all these things, and the accumulation of things to try to reduce people coming to see the game so that she can, well, the market's down. Looks like I can take this team to Vegas now. And so that's the other thing that NBA players.
Who did she trade?
Luka Doncic.
Oh man, that's a really okay. And I don't know nothing. I don't know anything about basketball. Now, listen, I tell people all day long, the only sports that I like to watch is women's sports. I don't know if it's a dude. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Basketball's not my thing. Football, I watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean that's mainly for the commercials and the game sometimes or whatever, but halftime, but mainly the commercials. Honestly, anything else, I have never sat down and watched a whole entire basketball game.
Oh yeah, and that's why I'm like, that's why I'm kind of prefacing it because I know that's not your wheelhouse.
So thank you for that. No.
But the business side is something we can both digest, and so
very much
as the player. He has, as an NBA player, even college players now, you are your own business. You're in the business. And so now your business is doing essentially contract work with this NBA franchise, and it may not be in the owner's best interest to make sure that they have the best players and those best players are taken care of. I know I have inside information with the NFL team where they were forcing the players. This was years and years ago, but they were making the players pay to rent out their own lockers. The players had to pay to rent out their own lockers. And so a lot of times these people that buy these franchises are about the business. They don't necessarily care about the wins and losses. So anyway, the NBA player is balancing their business interests with what the team wants. And a lot of times that ends up creating a negative situation. Now, the takeaway for a business owner is if you're into a business where your business serves other businesses, you have to always be cognizant of that. And that's where a lot of B2B business owners fail, because they treat the business as the same thing as a B2C business, which is business consumer. And business to business looks different. So anyway, and the NBA players or professional athletes are basically B2B business owners. So, all right, we're about to finish it. We're about to wrap up this video. So we got a few minutes left on this video.
That's the reality. So when you get to a place where, like I said, I was single, so I'm coming home with just my crib. So let's say you don't even have kids involved, or you got a long-time girlfriend. Y'all really got to get to know each other for real. Because he's used to spending time with you, getting the fuck out of here. Right. Spending time with you, getting the fuck out of here. So how you gonna keep her happy when your keep her happy button is send her to the mall? Right. And that $500,000 check that you got last week, that ain't a $500,000 check this week. So when you come home, man, y'all don't know who y'all are for longer than
who that little nigga?
Yeah, for real, straight up. Because you know what it is? You get into your room, you check in, do your check-in phone call, right? Go back to living your life. She go back to managing the house. A lot of my good brothers are who they say they are, real God-fearing family men, and some of us like to play. And me included. I say I'm first. So anybody saying I'm talking too much about it, right? I was one of them. I was a team captain. So you know your wife for 5 minutes at a time, for real. Wow. So hell yeah, she leaving your ass when that shit, when the shit that keep a smile on her face ain't there no more. That resource ain't there no more, and it get different.
Never looked at it like that.
Yeah,
I never looked at it like that.
So, as an owner of Walton Goggins goggle glasses,
so that's the rundown. So we were talking about it, and it's kind of a aside, but I feel like it was a valuable thing because we're seeing exactly how this thing runs, and we're hearing from somebody who's actually, I mean, like I said, a professional athlete is a business owner, but their business is them and what they can produce on the court or on the field or whatever. And so, it ties into what you were saying about that 5-year window. And it also ties into the 5-year runway that most businesses end up having. And so that's why people get off mission. Other side is a lot of times, and I'll use the franchise of McDonald's as an example. When you go to McDonald's, there's an expectation, right? You're expecting the food to taste the same every single time you get it, right? If it's different, you're going to have a problem.
Consistency.
Yeah. For most business owners, a lot of business owners I know are creative minds. An anathema to a creative mind is consistency. We have to find newness. A lot of business owners are driven by the new venture, new conquest, new thing. And so as soon as we start seeing consistency, as soon as we have to live in the box of consistency, I don't want to. I want excitement. I want to change it up. And so some of the best run business, some of the biggest businesses are the most boring ones. They're most consistent. And so that is the challenge for a lot of business owners. And one of the things is, we talked about it, that side hustler who wants to be a straight up, a regular business owner, that's one of the challenges, because you got to adjust to everything being the same for a while. You don't want massive changes.
Going back. No. And what's crazy is that, and again, I think we talked about this last week. One of the things that T. Harv Eker said in the Millionaire Mindset, is that business should be boring. Right. Like, think about that. It should be boring. And that kind of goes to what you're saying right here, is that we think that it should be exciting. It should be new. It should be this, it should be that. No, when people come in, they should know exactly what to expect.
Right.
Period. That's the reason why that's the reason why people keep going to that's the reason why people keep going to Burger King, McDonald's, Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Nobles is expensive as shit. As a person who I am I am a bibliophile by every word. Like I love reading. I love books. But I know that when Barnes and Nobles is around, you about to pay some exorbitant prices for stuff that you can get probably on Amazon for damn near half the price. We got half price bookstore that you can go to. You have what's the other one? Jackson Street Bookstore here in Omaha, downtown, a couple doors down from Big Brain. So we have several different. We have the Bookworm. We got one of my personal favorites is what is it? Goodwill, Salvation Army. You Thrift World over in South Omaha. You find bangers over there. Thrift. I mean, so there's all these different places I go get books from, right? And my point is that you can get all your books from all these different places, whatever. But it's consistency,
right?
And that's the reason why people keep going there. Is because it's consistent no matter what. And now, if your whole business is built on excitement, new this and the other, then that's consistency too. Right. Because they're coming to be entertained, right? But if your thing is to smile, offer some coffee, this and the other, it can be boring, bro. Master the mundane. There's nothing wrong with being boring.
Right.
Boring, listen, boring will always keep that dollar coming. Whereas if you're trying to change things up all the time, you might miss and you'll miss this one, you'll get this one, you'll miss that one, you'll get this one, then you'll miss, because there's no consistency to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when there's no consistency, there's nothing else. Why do I want to keep going to you? One of the things that, and again, this is about trial and error, so let's talk about that. One of the things that, even at my store, 2 days in a bookstore, like we'll drive past and I'll get calls consistently. Are you guys open? Are you guys doing this, or what's going on with that? Why haven't we seen any books out in however longer, this and the other? And there's not really much I can say, And so I was sitting out, I'll look, and I'm just like, man, this is what consistency is starting to look like for certain things, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, okay, like I see where you're going with this, and all I can do is apologize. I'm sorry that we haven't lived up to the consistency of expectation. And here's the thing: we set the bar high when it came to welcoming people and being a welcoming type of company. But when you lose sight on that part, on the part of consistency, you lose out on everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you literally lose out on everything else. Whether people want to listen to you or not is irrelevant. You and I know exactly what that entails. And when there's no consistency in what y'all got going on, then people are out. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple days ago, and they were like, dude, like, well, what's up with your store? And I kind of, kind of did one of these. She said, do you know where people are buying their books from? I said, yes, ma'am. I know exactly where they're getting them from. I said, you know why? She said, how do you know? I said, because I went to the same place to go buy mine. So again, like I said, when you start your business, one of the things that we talked about before, which is the premise of the show right now, or the topic is, what are the reasons why your business stops? Well, one of those, why businesses fail within 5 years, one of those reasons is that people refuse to go look at your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to look at them. They don't want to know what they're doing. And again, kind of like you talked about last week, I love the topic that you came up with. When to pivot. So I know for a fact, and I said it before we even opened the business, before we even opened the store, we are not going to make $1 million selling books. I know that because I talked to almost every bookstore in the metro area and then outside of that, because that's my thing. I love to research stuff. I don't like people knowing shit that I don't, that I should know. Now, there's things that you're going to know that I don't. I'm okay with that. But if I can figure it out too, then why would I wait for somebody else to tell me something I could go figure out on my own? So I went and talked to these people, and that's what the consensus was, is that if you're trying to get rich, this ain't going to work. You got to be selling other stuff. And the size of the stuff that you guys have, this is what I would be doing. That's what I would be doing. Oh, okay, you know, that's a good idea. So I put that in the business plan. Have we done it? Nope. And then we're sitting there wondering, why is it that that it's not really generating enough income to stabilize itself? It could. But again, like I say, here's the thing. I'm loyal to a fault, to a point. Mm-hmm. If you want to go off and do something, I'm gonna let you do it. Now, right? Even if I know that it's not gonna work, I'll keep my mouth shut, let you run it. Because here's the thing. Even with empirical evidence, I could be wrong. I mean, I'm a life coach who focuses on perspective. Mm-hmm. So, right? And I understand that statistics are based on past behaviors. Think about that. It's not based on the now. It's based on what happened before. Now, I understand that your statistics can help you in the future. It can help you now, but it's still derived from the past. And you can't let the past dictate what's going to happen in the future. But unfortunately, if you don't learn from it, you're going to keep going through the same thing. So I see this and I say, okay, cool. You got it. Right. And I just sit and watch. And watch. Then we get on here before we start, and you are like, bro, man, I got some crazy ass ideas about how we could do this, that, and the other over at the store, because I do like what's really going on. And I'm sitting there talking to you like, I know. So you understand what I'm saying. And again, you know as well as I do, I'm not gonna blaspheme somebody. I'm not gonna talk shit about somebody. Right. If you see it, then you see it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been kind of rocking together long enough that you know me. I to sit there and talk shit about another person. No, I'm not doing all that. Oh yeah. If you see it, then you see it. But if you don't, then I'm not gonna pull your eyes over it unless I absolutely have to. Unless you plan to invest in with this over here, then I'll tell you everything you need to know. But if you're not really investing in it like that, I'm not going to say anything. But again, going back to what we were talking about before, that thing of consistency, you have to stay consistent. Business should be boring. Yep. It should be boring. Boring as shit. And it's okay to be boring. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have in general, and not just in business, bro, but this is in life in general, is that we don't like idle time. Right. You know what I'm saying? We don't like to be idle. We don't like to just sit there with nothing. And I think that's why I'm kind of a freak of nature, because, bro, I can sit for hours by myself, writing, reading, thinking. You know what I'm saying? I can sit for hours with no one else around me. Just me with my own thoughts. I love that. That's my happy space. Reading a book, going out and going to buy more, and sitting down and like journaling. I'm always writing. Constantly, I don't have a choice. I have to write stuff. Mm-hmm. But we have to get back to that essence of being okay to be bored. being okay just doing the mundane things. Because
Right.
it's those things, I guarantee you, that are going to help you, that are going to that are going to help you to move to that next stage, in whether business, life, relationship, whatever it may be. You take the floor. What do you think, bro?
So there are,
I know I said a lot, but
I
go
know.
ahead.
And so, and you touched on, because there's like 6 major reasons why businesses go out of business in the first 5 years. And I'll run them down, and then kind of give a little
Yeah,
bit of
run,
input on it.
please.
So one is lack of market need. So they didn't, the business
Yep.
didn't analyze the market they were going into. And so what they did was they had a fantastic idea that they never tested to make sure that there's they never validated the idea. Next is running out of cash. That's poor cash flow management, overestimating expenses, underestimating revenue, and all the other stuff. And you don't have a backup plan for slow months. The other side of it is you run out of cash because you expand too fast and you have too much success up front. And now you don't have enough cash flow to buy the inventory to match the market demand. And you end up putting yourself out of business because you have too much business.
Mhm.
3 is
Yeah,
poor
too much
business
business.
model. Is poor business model and poor pricing. This is one that hits me because as a coach, my first world before I started this coaching thing, I was working with kids and families, helping people solve problems, working my employees and working through their problems and stuff like that. I was a problem solver, and I got so much out of that. And I was doing it technically just for my salary, but I was going above and beyond to help people, that it's hard for me to flip that switch and turn it off and ask the price requisite to what my specialty or what my outcomes create. And so basically I undervalued myself. And so poor pricing, poor business model, and me looking at running the business out of my own pocket as opposed to seeing how much people could actually afford. 4 is one that bothers me as a marketer, is bad marketing or sales strategy. I think people view marketing as this separate thing for their business. And my view is marketing is a holistic thing, and marketing is your business. So you're not in the business of selling toothbrushes. You are marketing toothbrush services to the right audience.
Right.
5 is leadership and operational issues. Go ahead.
Hold on, before we go into that one. Okay, so I'm gonna write that down. Leadership. Oh man, that's a huge one. We'll touch on that right quick too. So here's the thing. I think that number three leads into 4, or 4 leads into 3. I think that those two can be flipped around as well because of poor marketing. You're not asking for as much, you know what I'm saying? Because even when you and I talked, when we were doing our coaching thing, is that, you were telling me how much you were looking for, and you're like, I need to have this amount of people for that. And, me and my whole perspective thought, I'm like, okay, well, why would you need all these people if you can just get one person to pay you that, and then you ain't got to worry about all them other people? You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, but if you're spending that amount of time marketing to this particular individual, then you'll find more people that at this price point than you will down here. Because most people, again, if you charge too low, they're going to think there's something wrong with your stuff.
Yeah.
But if you charge way too high, then they're going to be like, maybe he's just overcompensating for something. So unfortunately, man, you got to find that thing that's just kind of right smack dab in the middle and stuff. So like for me at this present moment in time, I'll charge I charge $450 an hour. That's, I think for like 45 minutes or something like that, right? That's per hour. Like that's, if we're just talking this for real quick, this and the other, that's it. Now somebody else may be like, I would never pay that. That's cool. You don't have to, but that's what I charge. And whether you know it or not, people do pay that. But if we're talking about package wise, my packages start at $5,000 and then they go up from there. So but like I try to tell people, and I'm not overcompensating for stuff, you're going to pay for my time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said before, after a certain time, And if I got my son around me, you paying double. I don't give two shits what you have going on. If you bother me with my kid in the room, you're paying double. So we started off at 5,000, now you're paying 10. And some of you may be thinking, ain't nobody gonna pay that. No, you won't, but that's why I won't work with you. So again, when I'm working with an individual, I look at it like this and that. And tell me about, am I lying? Because you and I talked about this. If you can't meet me at this level, Archon, we're not even gonna talk. If you want to get me, you can get me on this thing here. Did I not talk? When we first started talking about doing this, did I tell you the same thing? If I'm not going to work with a person, I'm not. This right here is my pro bono. This, if you get us on here, this is our pro bono. Any other time, and y'all can blame me because I told Brian, I better not ever hear or catch you not charging people if we're not doing this. Did I not tell you that?
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Like we had that conversation. Like, and again, before going back to why businesses fail, because there's no communication. That's another big thing. People don't like to communicate. Here's the thing. I love total transparency. I love it. Because if I know what's going on, then I can protect you, you can protect me. We can all go from there, right? I may not go into the proclivities of my weird shit or whatever, but if it pertains to what we're doing, you need to know everything that I'm into. I need to know what you're going, how much are you charging? What are you charging for? What are you doing? I need to know that, because if I'm talking to somebody else about you, I don't want to hear something that I didn't know about you because you didn't tell me.
Right.
And if we're doing a business thing together, we both need to be on the same page with everything. So I told Brian, and y'all can blame me for this, I better not ever catch you selling your services for under a certain amount of money. Or bro, we gonna have a problem. Did I not tell you that, my guy?
Yeah. And that was the conversation we had. For transparency's sake. So for transparency's sake, when I met Fearless, I was coming off of, because I had gone from done for you marketing services, which I charged a lot for, and got burned. It wasn't burned, but it kind of was. I got burned really bad because I had, I'd say it was like $40,000 contract that ended up getting that some funding ran out and stuff changed around and stuff. And that was my only client because it was so much work that needed to be done to satisfy that contract. And so my pivot was, I was pivoting from completely done for you services to just consulting services. Like, I'm just going to teach people and I'm just going to consult people. And I was still figuring out the price point when I came to Fearless about it. And so for me, I was coming off of where I was getting paid a lot, but I lost the one client that was paying me a lot, and it was requiring so much work of me that, one, I couldn't focus on the other business venture that actually was making a lot of money consistently. And two, I was burning the candle at both ends, because what happened was that client was me and my wife actually had to do the marketing work for that client, and it dominated all of our time. And so when I stepped out of that, one, I was in such a bad place mentally because we had planned for a whole year, and for things to get switched around on us with a month's notice, it put us on the back foot completely. And I'm pivoting out of an old business model where I'm like, okay, I can't be somebody's total marketing department indefinitely. And then fortunately, I had a client that helped me bridge that gap where I was doing consulting and doing done for you stuff, and they were great. And they helped me get through that transitional phase. But when I started out with my consulting, I was starting at I was charging at the basement bottom level, just because I was not in a great place mentally with running the business. And I was actually like, do I wind this thing down? And so when Diane came to me and said, Fearless needs your help over at the bookstore, I'm like, something hit me, and I'm like, okay, I need to go over there and help out. And that's the thing. And it gave me so much to come in and see somebody who needed my expertise, and I was able to help them out, that I'm like, all right, I think I can jump into this. And I ended up coming to the price point that was way too low for my services. But if it was done for you stuff, that looks a little bit different. So I was still playing with the pricing model, if that makes sense. And that's where I'm like, that's where me and you got together, and I'm like, well, okay, I just threw out a low number, like hopefully I can get this, and this could be, something I can use to get launched. But then I'm realizing, wait a minute, there's still a lot even with the consultative stuff, where I'm like, well, shoot, I still have to do a heck of a whole lot of mind work. I may not have to do the creative work, but I still got to do the mind of getting somebody right. And so that's where Fearless comes in and basically says, hey, man. And it was Fearless and my wife basically saying, you are charging too little money for what the outcomes you're creating for other people. And so that's where I'm like, I'm doing a disservice to everybody. And so now the price has got to come up. And so now we're doing this. And so when we consult with you, there's going to be sticker shock if it comes off. If you're not on stream, it's going to be sticker shock. But what we're offering is transformative stuff that's built on our blood, sweat, and tears. And so you're paying for our blood, sweat, and tears. And that's kind of what it is. You're paying for the mistakes that me and Fearless have made, but you're also paying for the victories that we've had as business owners. And so that's the dialogue. And so I'm saying all that to say this, to get back into the pricing piece of it. I was in a point where with the new service, I was pricing myself out of the market. Now, price is your positioning. And so this is something I've said, and it was a lesson I didn't internalize for me, but I've said it to other business owners. If you are the $2 steak on somebody's plate, your business doesn't get viewed the same way. And so a lot of businesses struggle with the pricing piece of it and not really grasping how much their service is valued, how much transformation they bring. So we're on to 5, leadership and operational issues. This is where the founders like business experience. Me and Mo, we lacked business experience at first. So that's why it took us a while to get our feet under us. Now we got our own basketball training facility. But it was a road of not having the operational and business experience. And sometimes we still run into, and now we're older, now we understand the limits of our knowledge. When you're young, you don't understand the limits of your knowledge. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. Now we're at an age where we know what we don't know, and we ask for help. 6, burnout. Yes. This is the one that zapped me when I met Fearless. This is where I was. I was burnt out and losing focus on what I needed to do. And I was actually on the fence about even keeping the marketing side of my business open and just focusing on the marketing internally for CMA, because I was I was burnt. I was burned out and losing focus. And a lot of these other things create number 6. So, lack in market need, run out of cash, poor business model or pricing, bad marketing, bad sales strategy, leadership and operational issues will all lead you to number 6, which is burnout and losing focus. Burnout hard. And sometimes you don't rebound from burnout. And sometimes the burnout is when you need to pivot. Sometimes you need to pivot before you burn out. But that happens. And so burnout is when entrepreneurs take too much alone. They're chasing too many ideas instead of focusing on one, and they're losing motivation when the results don't match their effort. So, those are the different areas.
For some of those things, especially with burnout, I think that Kidlin's law, which is KIDLIN's law, it basically states that if you write the problem down clearly, then half the problem is solved, right? But most of us don't necessarily understand what the problem is, so therefore we don't really understand how to write it out or how to solve it. But I think that burnout Number one, I think you can get burned out from anything. Number one. Number two, I think that with a lot of that, you just need to take a break, take a step back, because you have to take a step back. That book that we were talking about before, I think it was like Learn Anything in 20 Hours. I think it was Josh Kaufman. I think that was his name, maybe. That's what he talked about a lot in that book, is that you learn for a little bit, then you step back. Learn for a little bit and step back. The problem is, as business owners, is that we don't step back.
Right.
And we're so close in the picture that it's hard for us to step back to see the rest of the frame. So when we get burned out, that's why. It's because we have to take a few steps back in order to understand what's going on, reevaluate ourselves, and then kind of go from there, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Leadership and management, on the other hand, is this. One of my employees still tells me consistently, and I think we talked about it before, that she sent me this meme that said something along the lines of, a manager makes you feel that when you talk to them, they are important. A leader makes you feel that when you talk to them, you are important. And she said, Fearless, like, you make me feel like I am important, that I can do anything, that there's more to me than just, helping out at your store. Like, you really teach me a bunch of stuff. She's like, some of the stuff that I get to learn from you for free is crazy, because I see how much you charge other people to, like, for the same stuff you give me for free. So one of the things that I taught her was, man, I said, no, I'm pulling out money and stuff, right? I said, this right here, these two things need to be your best friend. These two things right here have to be your best friends. If you can't see what I'm saying or holding, it's a pen and a notepad. This right here got to be your best friend. I don't go anywhere without a pen and a pad. Nowhere. Because you have no idea what idea might pop into your mind that will set your life up forever. You have no idea of the idea that pops into your head that you will never get again. And again, you got to remember, you have anywhere from 5 to 75,000 thoughts running through your mind a day. Mm-hmm. A day, depending on what you do, anywhere from 5,000 to 75,000 thoughts running through your mind per 24 hours. If you set your mind to, how can I become rich? How can I do this? How can I do that? Your mind will probably come up with at least a couple thousand different ways for you to do something. Because all you do is just let these ideas fester in your mind, you have no way to really decipher one idea from the other. That's the reason why you keep a pen and pad with you. Write them down. And you have no idea what's going to pop up. The reason why when Brian is talking, you see me jotting stuff down, because what the man's saying is some serious stuff. So I write that stuff down so I'll remember it. One of the things that he said was price is position. I think about that. Is that how you said it? Yeah, your price is your position.
Yep, that's how you position yourself.
I love that.
Price is positioning.
That's how you position yourself. So when I came out telling people that I was going to be charging at a minimum of $5,000 per month to mess with me, everybody around me was like, bro, that's crazy. I said, no, that's not. Because one of my higher prices is going to be anywhere from 15 to 20,000 per month. And again, I'm only going to work with you for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and that's it. Who's going to pay you that? Obviously not you. But I'm good at what I do. So I don't have to worry about, can I justify charging that? Can you justify the whack dumb shit that you buy? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if I know that if I know that I'm good at what I deliver, then I'm gonna charge you that. Period. I'm not gonna apologize for being great. I wouldn't want you to. If I was working with you, listen, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna gaslight the shit out of you. Lights up. Seriously, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna gaslight you, right? I'm gonna gaslight you. Why? Because you listen. You and the rest of society has been so hard on you that when I get a hold of you, I'm gonna gaslight the shit out of you. I'm gonna make you feel so good about yourself, and then when we get there, I'm gonna help you to reinforce that by the thing that I call ears, which is experiences, assumptions, references, and things that you're subscribing to, right? So we're going to build you up and then set the table for you to stand on that. That's all I'm doing. So it may seem like, oh man, you treat me like shit. No, I'm going to build you up. I'm going to hold you up there, build that foundation for you. And then whenever you start thinking, man, I'm not good enough, there's already a foundation that says, yeah, you are. And he helped me create the experience to show me how I was great at it. You see what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. What the R means, you need references. You need reasons. You need references. You need to remember. So that particular activation system inside of our minds has to start going off so you remember how great you are. Because social media, I mean, listen, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, just on the humbug. I open up my phone. I go on Instagram because I love watching like alien stuff and third world stuff and Kardashev scales and physics and all that stuff. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson is literally like my personal alive hero. Like I love that guy. Like I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love that dude. But anyway, I love astrophysics, physics. I have every book that man has. Like I love that dude. So anyway, God damn it, where was I going with that? Anyway, but I love that guy, whatever. So I have any and everything based on him, about him, right? And I literally just lost my thought. What was I talking about?
Waking up at 5 a.m, checking your phone. Yep.
Thank you. So I'm looking through Instagram, and I see these women with the most beautiful bodies. And I'm like, sweet Moses. And I click on them. I don't follow them, but I do click in. And except for one lady, maybe two, they'll have a book or so in their hand or whatever. But majority of them, I'm sitting there thinking like, what is it that you do for a living? And then I went in and I started typing, what is it that Instagram models do? And you know what that thing told me? All they do is they just walk around with tight ass clothes on, with their cheeks slapping together, and that's how they get paid. People, Cash App them, OnlyFans, this and the other. And I ain't tripping on how a person get their money.
Right.
Do you? By no means, I'm not gonna hate. Like, hey, if that's how you feel, do what you feel. But I'm sitting there looking at this, I'm like, damn, like that's what we are today. Like, the only way for you to make it is to exploit your body. Fuck it. I mean, people have been doing that for years, right? So why not you do it for yourself as opposed to letting somebody else do it to you? But I'm sitting there looking at them, I'm just like, man, that's crazy though. And like I don't know, like I guess for myself, I guess maybe it's TMI, but I'm a sapiosexual by definition. And for those of y'all who don't understand, like I'm attracted to brains. Like the smarter you are, the more attracted I am to you. I mean, I guess when I was like in my 20s or whatever, a woman with a fat ass walking around this and the other, that would do something for me. As a 46-year-old man, like, sweetheart, you look good, but what will we have to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the last book you read? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like that would be the thing for me, or whatever. So again, kind of like going back into what we were talking about, I think that at the end of the day, you need to know exactly who and what you are. And again, you're going to evolve, right? There are going to be certain things that that there's going to be certain things that you used to love back in the day that you can't stand today. There's going to be things that you didn't like back in the day that you rock with today, right?
Right.
There's certain people that I never thought that I would actually be cool with, and now we are. And there's certain people that I thought that, man, this person, I'm gonna ride with this person to the day I'm gone. Now it's like, bro, I wish you absolutely nothing but the best of luck. But if there was ever a purge, I would lock my door and leave your ass outside. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like I would not open my door if I knew that them people was coming for you, bro. I would not. I mean, and it's not just dudes. For certain females, the same exact way. Like whether you got kids or not, adios. See you in the next life. Like if there is one, right? So go ahead, bro.
So one thing I wanted to touch on.
I don't know. That's how I look at it. Okay.
One thing I wanted to touch on regarding business owners, though, and maybe this is when they got left off the list, is a lot of times business owners compare what they think the business lifestyle is supposed to be based on what they see on social media, and they realize that their life don't align or doesn't match what they're seeing on social media. But the reality is a lot of these influencers are broke too. And a lot of these influencers, a lot of these influencers don't have a sound business model underneath what they're doing. And so what they're selling is the image of success, but they ain't really successful. I forgot bro's name. He was a financial influencer in the Grant Cardone school and all these other folks. And Ty Lopez, that's who it was. And
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he would rent mansions and rent Lamborghinis and buy fake stacks of money and flash them on his YouTube channel. And that was driving people to buy his courses. But when the courses didn't work, people are like, well, I bought your course, bro. It didn't work. Well, you didn't apply it right, or do this, that, and the third. The reason why he's able to make so much money selling those courses is because he was selling the image of success without necessarily selling the success. And so a lot of times when you see these influencers and everything, and you get caught up in the business, because let's be honest, there is a business owner, entrepreneur arm of social media. And a lot of the content is geared towards business ownership and whatnot. And these people are showing they're off on the beach somewhere. They're working remotely. They're doing X, Y, and Z. They're living this amazing life. And what they're not telling you is the only reason they're living or showing this amazing life is because that's the only way they ever make money. They're not making money to afford it. They're doing it and they're spending money because that's what makes them money, if that makes sense. They have to sell the image.
They have to sell the image. It's kind of like you just said about Ty Lopez, which is mad crazy because you have no idea. I'm sitting there looking at my stuff, right? I'm looking at all this and I'm like, damn, dude, because my Osmo is it, so can we, if you don't mind, can we talk about this right quick?
Yeah.
Are you using your Osmo?
I have it right here. I actually am using a webcam right now, but I was hooking this up for the
You
next
just using your regular.
Huh?
Okay. So let me ask you. So Brian, how did you get that Osmo?
Worked with Fearless and he copped it because I was talking about how great it was, and he went and bought it as a gift for us working together.
So, but hold on now. You told me about that. If you remember our very first time that we talked, that we even met each other, you mentioned it to me, remember?
Yep.
Because we were talking about different videos, this and the other. And then I didn't meet you again until 5 months after that?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
It was like quite some time in between that. And then when we started working with each other, you didn't mention it anymore. We just sat and we talked, this and the other. I went out and I bought myself one, and then I grabbed you one at the same time, yes?
Right.
And it was more of to thank you because at that point you hadn't even charged me for nothing or whatever for all the work that you've done for me. You hadn't even charged me nothing. I'm like, nah, I got to do something for him. So I went out, bought that, and then when I got it, gave it to you, like, dude, like, you know, thank you, because you weren't even expecting it.
Right.
And the thing is that, like, again, like, and that's one of the things that I talked to Brian about too. It's like, bro, we can't be judging what's in other people's pockets because you have no idea
Exactly
what somebody look like or sound like and how much they actually rocking with and what they're willing to do for you because of what you've done for them, even on the humbug type stuff, right? So,
right.
so I automatically do that, right? So another thing, real quick, and then we'll keep going.
Okay.
Brian, what's your number? What is your number? Do you remember what your number is?
My number initially when we first talked, it's gone up since then. But it was 10,000 a month. Because that's what I was doing. That's what we were doing with CMA. I want to get 10,000 a month.
Because that's okay. Okay. So my number that I was telling you about before, and I do not waver from it. It is $26,978,226.13. So the reason why that number stays the same, and I consistently keep saying it, over and over and over again, is because I have no idea who's listening to this, who may one day be like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and write you out a check for a few million or something like that, because you have no idea. You see what I'm saying? And you don't know unless you put it out there. But my point is this: when you were talking about the Ty Lopez thing or whatever, the one thing that drew me to him is the fact that he and I could read a book a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And people around me could tell you that I could sit down and read a book a day. Matter of fact, I had a whole entire office downtown Omaha overlooking that new park that they have down there now. Beautiful office. And all I use that as my reading room. So I bought an office just to go read my books in it. Like I loved it, right? But that's like I always tell people, like, that's my thing, right? That's
right.
But anyway, the reason why I'm saying this is that, again, even in my garage, we built a whole entire shelf in there for my books to go. You've been to my house, so
yep.
I don't think you've seen my wall of books, but even my desk, I have a whole desk that we built from the ground up, bookshelves on top of that as well. So everywhere in my house, there's a bookshelf. When you walk in, there's bookshelf, books everywhere, right?
Right.
But I'm not a pack rat, so don't get that twisted. The reason for me saying this is that everything that I'm saying to you about success, about failure, about having to start back over, is shit that I actually went through, all of it. And not just that, but I actually have pictures of when I was sleeping on my friend's couch. I have pictures of my son being down there. I have pictures of the floor. One day it rained so bad that there was like a septic tank in the basement part that I was living in that actually rose up, and there was shit all over the floor. Like, we had to go upstairs to go shower because the shower downstairs had shit in it. Bro, it's so fucking bad sometimes that I wanted to go stay at a shelter. That's how bad it was at my friend's house. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so everything that I be trying to tell people, like, so when I charge what I do, like, I'm not charging you for results. I'm charging you for an experience of this is where I was, and this is how I got myself out of it. Right. Now, everything that I do is tailor-made to fit your experience, not to fit mine, to fit yours. I know what I went through. So to help you kind of get through whatever you're going through, that's what we're here for in general. So it's not a thing of, you know what? I want to do something. I know that we're live.
Uh-huh.
I want to do something right quick. Hold on, let me do something. I'm gonna take this off. Okay. I'm gonna take this off. Keep talking, I'll be right back.
Okay. So for those that are sticking around, I'm always researching and looking up other things adjacent to what we're talking about. And so the conversation is, y'all, and pivoting back to it, is what business owners can do to prevent themselves from basically crashing the ship at 5 years in. And so a lot of this stuff is easily preventable, but you just have to be cognizant of what's happening within your business. And a lot of times people aren't necessarily really cognizant of the things that are going on within their business. And it's a blind spot. And the problem with blind spots is they're blind spots. You can't really see where they are. And so being able to step back and have bring somebody else in, a new set of eyeballs to look to see, okay, maybe these are the things that aren't working. That's what you need. And that could be a benefit to you. That can be an absolute benefit to you. And that's what me and Fearless are offering on here. Now, I don't want to make this podcast a big, long pitch for the services, but, over the next couple of weeks, we got to work out one of the links. You're going to start seeing it when we post, when we post the edited versions of these, you're going to see a link for booking us for a consultation, and understand realistically, we're basically your fresh set of eyeballs to look at your problem so that we can figure out how best to put you on the path to success. And so that's where a lot of this is. And a lot of these conversations are informational for business owners or people looking to start a business, or looking to establish a personal brand. Or sometimes it may not have anything to do with business. It may just be your personal life, your career, or anything. Sometimes you need that fresh set of eyeballs. And so that's really what a lot of these conversations are.
It's just a fresh set of eyeballs. That's it. So I wanted to show you something right quick. Hold on one second.
Okay.
See how this. So one of the things that has always bothered me about people when they talk about money, for instance, like, it's always bothered me. So I want to show you guys something. So this right here is a stack of hundreds, right? This is $1,000 right here, right? Pretty small, yes? Right, so there's 10 $100 bills. These are all real because I don't do fake shit. This right here is a stack of 100. This is $100 in ones, right? Sorry. Oops, sorry, did I delete something? Okay.
No, you didn't. No.
So what happens is that these people, they will take money like this, they'll put hundreds on top of it and do that. So, but if you can see the buoyance of $100 in ones and $100 and $1,000 in this right here, it's not even the same. Matter of fact, if you look at it, this right here, right, and this, right, so this is a little bit more than this right here. This right here is $2,000 in 20s. This again is still your $100 in that. Now let's say 50s and 1,000, right? Buoyance, right? So the reason why I'm telling you this is that when you see all these so-called rappers, and not just rappers, because I mean, I don't want to pick them all, people, I hate that shit. But when you see a lot of that shit, like this right here, this is real, like all of it. Now, it's about to go to the bank. Well, actually not the bank. I got to go deposit it in some other stuff, investments that I have or whatever. But I wanted to show you that, dude, when we're talking about shit, it's not a joke. Like everything, like when I was broke as shit, when I had absolutely nothing, like, bro, like I'm telling you, it sucked. And the thing is that, like, I'm trying to tell people now that, like, yeah, life might be, a little bit better now, but dude, I remember when it wasn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what is it? I don't think it was The Richest Man in Babylon. I think the greatest, Og Mandino, The Greatest Story Ever Told, I think it was this book. He had talked about in the times of of amazing things happening for you, you have to remember the times when it wasn't so good. When the times when you're going through horrible times, you got to remember where it wasn't so bad. So you have to use that balance consistently. So unlike we were talking about, sitting there talking about, Ty Lopez and a lot of them faking about all the money that they was having and all this shit or whatever. And like I tell you, everything that we talk about is real. Everything. You don't have to live. Like, I'm okay that you don't listen to me. Like, I'm okay. Matter of fact, you don't have to hire us. I don't give a shit. I'm going to still make money no matter what. My job, Brian's job, is to help as much as we possibly can to help you out of whatever the situation that you might be in into another, right? That's it. As a life coach, I focus on perspective. That's all. Now, when I say perspective, I want you to think of something. T.D. Jakes once said, if man or money can solve your problem, you ain't got a problem. I don't think there's words that have said that's greater, not understanding than that, but I don't think there's been anything said to that effect that has been more true. I want you to think about this. This is $100 in one. So let's take $1, right? $1 out of this. Your whole majority of you who are chasing money, you got to remember, if you can get $1, you can get $1 million. That's all I'm telling you. It's not that goddamn difficult whatsoever. If you can get 1, you can get 2. If you can get 2, you can get 4, you can get 4, you can get 8, and then you just go up from there. It is not difficult whatsoever. Again, what we're talking to you about, if you really think about it, has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with you.
Right.
In general, you. Not money, you. The money, listen, money is a byproduct of success. You got to hear that. Money is a byproduct of success. You don't get money first and then you become successful. It doesn't work that way. You become successful, then the money will come. Right? If I were to ask you, do you consider a person who won the lottery successful? Most people would say no. Why? Because you didn't earn it. It was a thing of luck. So we understand that just because you got money doesn't mean that you're successful. You see what I'm saying? But to me, I equate education with success, though. But that's just me. And when I say education, I do not mean matriculating to some school. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the education that you learn to better yourself and everybody else around you. That's what I'm talking about. And that could come from podcasting. That could come from listening to things like what Brian and I are doing. That could come from reading. That could come from being around other individuals who are doing what you want to do. I'm not saying that you got to go sit and spend $80,000, $90,000 going to go get a degree within 5 fucking years. Are going to be worthless. I'm not telling you that. What I'm saying is that if you really want to succeed out here, one word and one word only: consistency. That's it. If I can leave you with just that one word that's going to help you succeed, consistency. If Ty Lopez was not anything, he was consistent.
Yeah.
He's consistent. I personally wouldn't have rented all that shit. I mean, like, Brian knows what type of car I drive. I don't just have one car, I have a couple. I can only drive one. So what about shooting videos and shit all in my car and stuff? No, I need to do all that. I got my own little creative studio right here in the house. We do it here. I think that my guy was talking about maybe going down to our bookstore, resetting up some stuff and probably shooting down there, which we can surely do that too. But everything that we talk about, everything that we're doing, this is not something that we're just talking about. It ain't just talk. We do it Everything that we're telling you is stuff that we've done. That's the reason why it flows out so well. That's the reason why I could sit and tell you the buoyance of what money actually looks like when it's not, when people sitting around, walking around, talking with the shit in here. Here's the thing. This right here, honestly, like actual cash out that's not collecting money, this is fucking worthless. If this money, think about it. If it's not, the bank is only going to give you a certain percentage of whatever. So you have to have this in other investments. That's how this makes money. Because this right here, just sitting around, sitting in a lockbox or sitting somewhere, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't draw interest if it's sitting in your fucking house.
Right.
So it's here now because I have to go invest it in some other stuff that we have going on. But this right here, this will be gone in 15, 20 minutes. Or as soon as we wrap up here, I go invest it, and then that's it. You see what I'm saying? So again, I just want to show people that, like, dude, you can have a crap ton of money and still be humble as fuck. You can still do that. That's a real thing. That and that's all I'm saying. Go ahead, sir.
So the thing I need to emphasize as we're wrapping up, one of the things is, and this is where I was going with the influencer culture and stuff like that. One thing that happens when we lock in too much on what some influencer is or what they're doing. And aside, last night I came home, happened to turn on television, and it was like Mormon wives or whatever, and I'm looking at, and they're on Mom Talk. They built this entire community. They are fabulously rich and successful. The thing is, they were already rich before they started. They didn't get rich by being an influencer. The reason why they're an influencer is because they're rich. But the thing is, and I want people to understand this, business owners specifically, your business fails when you stop trying to do your business. You fail when you stop. One of the things that, well, two things. One, you need to learn how to pivot at the right time.
Can you say that one more time? Can you say that one more time? Because that was deep.
Oh shoot! What did I just say?
That?
You fail.
If I'm asking.
Basically, is the concept of you fail when you stop trying to do business. Like the business doesn't fail. You fail when you stop trying to do business, and so that's why you need to hit the pivot. You need to know when the pivot is. But the problem a lot of business owners have, and that's why I brought up the influencer thing. And watching influencers and letting that form your worldview of what a successful business owner is. A lot of times business owners make their concept of success an external thing. They're letting other people determine what success looks like for them, as opposed to what does success look like for me? For me, success is I just want to be able to take my kids on vacation and go hang out in Kansas City for a week with my father-in-law and just kind of kick it and be able to afford wherever we go without having to worry about when we get home. I want to be able to, us just travel and do the travel ball and stuff and have a good time while we're doing it without having to always check the bank account. These are things that are, these are what success looks like to me. For some people, they need a new Lambo in the garage every other month. That's what their success is. And that's fine. All right. That's fine. But for me, my success is separate. Then I don't have it external. My concept of what makes me a successful human being or a successful business owner is internal to me. And I don't really care if other people looking in see it as successful. And so that's the first part that a lot of business owners stumble at. When they get in the game, the first thing they do is start comparing themselves to everybody else that they're seeing on the internet that has a business, and not understanding that in the attention economy, these people are selling you something to grasp your attention. They may not be selling you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where a lot of business owners fail. They fail because they externalize what success is as opposed to having an internal concept of what makes them successful. And then they lose focus on everything else. So I think that's my destination. That's where I'm going with it.
Is that the comparison that we were just talking about?
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Okay.
It absolutely robs you of your
Mhm.
happiness. And too many business owners get too caught up in the glamour and glitz of being a business owner. And then they're like, well, my life ain't like that. I'm not in Tahiti laying on a beach. And it's like, well, the person that's doing that isn't necessarily doing that either. They're in Tahiti for a week. That might have been a regular vacation for them. They ain't out there on the beach all the time. They still got to do the work so they can afford the trip to go to Tahiti. Or the reason why they can't afford it is because that's their entire business, is selling you the image of success. So too many business owners fall into that trap. They get sold dreams. They sell you dreams all the time. Listen, Fearless, you know this and I know this. When you first open a business, you got 5 million people trying to sell you all kind. I'm gonna sell you SEO services, and the SEO services are gonna magically make your business do all kinds of money. And it's a lie. It doesn't work like that. SEO is great. SEO
for us it was Yelp.
Yeah.
For us it was Yelp calling us. Yes.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah,
SEO.
it was Yelp.
So, yeah, Yelp. Yelp is a Ponzi scheme as far as I'm concerned. And Yelp extorts you. And so all these people will call you when you open up a business and say, I'll give you the keys to your success. But since you haven't internalized what success looks like for you, you will pay any amount so that you can look successful in their eyes. But like I said, I say SEO, that's search engine optimization. What does that mean? Well, we're going to optimize your website so it can move up to the top of Google. Great. That's amazing. If people aren't already looking for your website, search engine optimization will not help you. People actually have to be looking for your business online.
They have to be looking for you, right?
And so the way you get people to look for you is to do business, do good business, and post about it on social media and let people know you exist. That's how you get it. And a lot of business owners get sucked into this false idea of what success is. Oh, I got all these Yelp reviews. Like I said, Yelp is a Ponzi scheme. They will extort you. I had a franchise that I was about to buy, and I was always on the phone with Yelp. And once I saw their pricing model, I said, no, no, this ain't going to work, because this isn't conducive to what the business actually needs. These Yelp reviews in the model we're in are paid for. They're not going to bring you in anything. And so they want you to spend because that's what they do. They make money selling products to businesses. But what they do is they sell you the idea of what your success is going to look like. If you don't have a solid business underneath, an expert in search engine optimization ain't going to help you. An expert in web design ain't going to help you. An expert marketer ain't going to help you. If you don't have a framework of doing business, these people, and I'm telling you this as a marketer, these things will not help you if you do not have your framework underneath and you have an externalized idea of what success looks like. And so that's where a lot of business owners get tripped up. You open up the door, you open up your Google list, your Google business profile, and Yelp is ringing your phone talking about, we could push you to the top of the Yelp listings. That don't mean anything. It's not going to help you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the rant is over. That's what I got. I had to get that off my chest.
No, but I love that though. No, I love that, and I think that you're right on that, man. You're very much right. Now they conned us out of some money, but again, dude, like I think he gave them our account number, not our account number, but our card number or something like that. Where they were taking money. He was like, no, I'm just doing it for them to stop. I'm like, no, you tell them don't call me no more. That's how you stop that shit. You don't give them your fucking card number because they're going to run that regardless. Right. And so he's like, no, they weren't supposed to. Like, you shouldn't have gave it to them in the first place. And if you do, give them one that don't work. Like, oops, Sam, sorry, yeah, I don't know, man. That's what it was. So if there ain't no money in it, ain't no money in it. And be done with it. But most like they called me again before for a different company. I told the lady straight up, like, listen, I'm not interested. The type of business that I have is more online, and I do marketing way better than you guys do because I actually have a marketing partner. So I don't need you guys. I appreciate you, but I don't really need you guys. But I thank you. I was respectful. She took my name off the list. Done.
Mm-hmm.
That saved me $300 or whatever and a whole bunch of confusion because I didn't give them anything. You know, and I asked them, hey, please don't call me anymore. I don't need your services. So, and that's how you have to be with people. And again, I could talk about that because I went through it with those people before. Asking them, hey, can you give us our money back? This is not what we signed up for.
Right.
No, well, we have. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's play your because you guys said that you record all the calls, so let's listen to it. Like, please let's listen to it because that's not what she said. They still never did that. And after that, I'm like, no, I'm cool on that. I'll never hire. We'll never use you again for anything.
Right.
Anything.
Well,
so they lost a potential customer.
Right.
For life. And now, not only that, I'm going to shit on you every chance I get. Every chance I get, I'm going to shit on you.
So I'm going to show you something here because you showed me some stuff. I'm going to hip you to something.
Please
and hip the crowd to something. And we're in the marketing nerd stuff. So y'all going to have to ride along with this one. Here's the thing. So a lot of people don't understand, like when these services call you for marketing things, you can run your own Google ads. You don't need anybody to do it. You just need to put in, it's going to cost you money or it's going to cost you sweat equity. If you put in the sweat equity, you can learn how to run your Google ads, right? And you could get good results off of running your Google ads. So what I'm going to do is I'm making sure I'm not showing too much of my personal stuff. I may not want to. So I'm gonna show. I don't know if I can only show part of this screen. Anyway, I'm gonna give you the numbers, right? So off my Google ad, I've been running for CMA. We have 941,000 impressions. That's generated 9,400 clicks to our website. Okay.
Okay.
We paid for those. We optimize. I go in and optimize the ad. I adjust the ad. So almost 1 million people know that we exist. So, and I've done that without having to pay anybody but Google for that ad. I didn't have to pay any expert. I didn't pay any marketing person or anything. I did that myself. You can too. And a lot of business owners think that you have to outsource this stuff or hire somebody that's smarter than you. If you have enough time, all you got to do is learn how to run it. And then at that point, the reason why you hire an expert is to optimize it after you get your return. But you don't have to pay all this stuff. You don't have to pay all this stuff up front to be successful as a business owner. You just need to learn how to use the tools that are available to you. I'm going to tell everybody, and Fearless, I've talked about the Yelp thing. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm convinced Yelp is a Ponzi scheme. And I'm saying that as a bit. I'm saying that as a business owner.
I'm convinced they're a Ponzi scheme, right?
But the reality is, you don't need all these external things to help you be successful. What you need is, okay, if you're opening up a burger stand, the most important thing that you need before you have a sign, before you have marketing, before you have advertisement, you need a hungry crowd of people. You need people that are hungry for what you're selling. That's the most important thing.
That's it.
If you don't have a hungry crowd for what you're selling, then no marketing, no amount of ads, nothing is gonna make you successful. So from a business owner standpoint, you don't need all of this shit that they're trying to sell you on the front end. And that's where a lot of business owners get themselves in the weeds from the jump, because they try to outsource too many services without actually learning how these services work for themselves and without doing the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you don't have the time to learn the groundwork, but you have to be very judicious about who you bring on to make sure that they're actually delivering what they're trying to do. And have an understanding that I'm telling you as a marketer, I'm not a miracle worker. And so sometimes if the conditions aren't right for me to be successful, I'm going to get you as much success as I can, but if it doesn't match what your vision of success is, then it looks like a failure. But sometimes your vision of success doesn't align with what you've put in and the framework that you built for yourself. So
Gotcha.
that's a lot of information, but the reality is too many people rely on too many external things to create their stages of success. I just had a client not too long ago that I was running Google ads for, and I had to actually sit down and explain it. It's something that they didn't know, but I'm running the Google ads. I'm like, these things aren't getting a return, but previously they were getting a return. What's happening? Well, the idea was, since I was running the Google ads, they thought, oh, well, he's running the Google ads, I don't have to post anything on Facebook. And they stopped promoting their business to their audience, and the Google ads took a hit. And I said, no, these two things work in tandem. You got to still be doing the stuff you're doing. The Google ads will boost what your output is, but it's not going to take over. It's not going to take over for what you're doing. The reason why you're getting the business you are getting is because you are constantly posting about your business. The Google ads will enhance that, but in the absence of that, 0 times 0 is 0. So if you're putting in 0 inputs, no matter what are the things I add on to multiply it, if you're putting in 0 inputs, the answer is always going to be 0, if that makes sense. And so that's what happened. And so from the business owner standpoint, now we're getting into the weeds of it. Now that's the crazy part. From the business owner standpoint, a lot of times you still have to make the same efforts, and instead of trying to buy solutions, you need to buy enhancements sometimes. And if you're going to buy a solution, you need to make sure that it actually is a solution that's going to deliver for you. So, and don't buy Yelp. Don't fall into Yelp. Don't fall into the Yelp thing, man. Just stay away from it. Stay away from Groupon. I'm gonna be honest, stay away from Groupon because I've had a bad experience.
Really? I found Groupon kind of tight though. I found some success with Groupon. Okay. I mean, it's not good for the business.
That's what I'm saying. As a business
that they're promoting. As a business owner, no, it's shitty for y'all. But for a consumer, it is amazing.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Amazing.
As a customer, Groupon is great.
Yes, it's great. But for a business owner, you trash. You're gonna get railroaded. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Their percentage.
And you gotta jack your prices up. Yeah. And unfortunately, they're not gonna let you do that either.
Nope.
So yeah, good luck with that.
Their percentages are disgusting, bro. If you're a business owner, Groupon's we're gonna get sued by Groupon. No, Groupon's as a business owner,
bro, we're only gonna get sued if what we're saying is not true.
Yeah.
If you're just making up stuff about them, that's one thing. If you're talking about your own personal experience, that's something different. And you do not have a gag order, so you can say whatever you want to about them.
As a business owner, Groupon's percentages are disgusting. That's almost as bad as somebody talking about they're gonna, if you're a creative business owner, or even you're a brick and mortar retail business owner. One of the worst things somebody can pay you with is, I'll pay you with exposure because you're gonna expose me to more people who don't pay. I'm cool on that, bro. Expose me to people who pay. But Groupon is kind of like that. We're gonna pay you with exposure. We're going to send more people into your store to utilize our Groupon coupon that is robbing you of your revenue. You're welcome. We're going to send 20 more people to use the same thing that you're losing money on. You're welcome. Right. Now these people know you exist. Listen, one of my favorite restaurants locally is 801 Chop House. I loved 801 Chop House, right? The only reason we went to 801 Chop House is because my wife had a Groupon to it. We ain't been to 801 Chop House since. The meal was amazing. I ain't paying 801 Chop House prices. We went to Mahogany. Now, I didn't have a Groupon for Mahogany. I went to Mahogany. We spent like $500 on the meal. And I'm like, that's an experience. And I never need to have this experience again because This ribeye was not worth $500. But the only reason we went to 801 Chop House is because we had a Groupon to it. We ain't gone since because the food is amazing. It's not worth paying. For me, it wasn't so amazing that I have to come out of. I go there without a massive discount. And so for 801 Chop House, that was great for that instance. But they lost money. They might have lost money on that coupon sale because I know how Groupon's percentages work, and the business owner gets shafted on the end of it. You talking about giving up. The one I was looking at, we're giving up the one they were talking, the deal they were talking to me about. We off the rip, we giving up almost 50% of the profit up front. And then the man hours you lose trying to deliver on that, man.
Hey, you know what's just really crazy about that is because with the money that you spend, because I think it's free to put your stuff on there, they just take a percentage of what's sold.
Right.
But if you sell your stuff, so let's say that you charge however much and they take however much, let's say that they took $400 or $500 from you. That's $400 or $500 you could have put towards your own ad and generated that money back to yourself.
Right.
Instead of putting it on there. You could have made a commercial. You could have did all kinds of stuff. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about real fast that you had mentioned about that when you talked about Yelp. And you said, all that money y'all could be spending for this, you can spend that same money and do it yourself. If you have a couple minutes, you know what I'm saying? Listen to me. YouTube, Google, ChatGPT. If you have those things and you want a business or you want to start a business, I don't think or see any other way for you to upscale something as opposed to using that. And the reason why I'll tell you this, I talked to Brian about making an intro video a couple of different times, right? I also talked about making a banner now I didn't tell him, I talked to myself about, but making a banner for my YouTube video, right? Which is Ads Fearless, no pun, but there it is. So I went into Canva. Oh yeah, Canva. That's another one. I went into Canva and I'm like, dude, I know that it can't be difficult to make a banner for YouTube because they have all the stuff in there. I know it can't be difficult to make an intro video because they have all that stuff in there.
Yeah. So
I went into YouTube and I found a couple videos that taught you how to do that. I went back into Canva, I side by side the things. I did what they said do. I had that thing done within an hour. And that's because I was messing up and touching a whole bunch of buttons. I had an intro video. I have an intro video, and I also have a logo, which I use ChatGPT for. Again, it's not going to be my end-all, be-all thing or whatever. I'm just using it for now because it's quick, it's simple, and it's right there.
Get you started.
Just to get yourself started. And the problem is with so many of us is that we think that we got to have all this shit, and you don't. You just got to get it started. I mean, again, I created an intro video. Is it the best? Hell no. But you see me. You see what it is. It says Ads Fearless. What does the other stuff say? Perspective is everything. It shows like a chair. I might even take all that off. The next slide is basically a video of me scrolling my phone. It says, again, Ads Fearless. Let's connect. Hit the subscribe button. Boom. Done. I watched this chick. Her video was like 18 minutes. I watched all what she did, and I learned how to create this stuff in 18 minutes. Yep. So you're talking about, again, it takes 20 hours for the most part to learn something all the way through. I learned that within an hour, how to create a banner, and they have templates for you that you can use.
Right.
That's all I did. I just used what was already there, move the color around, move this around, put my face in there, put this in there, put that in there. Boom.
Right.
put the other stuff in, bro, it's the same shit. So and now I'm working on a website, but even with that, I'm sitting there thinking, do I need this big ass elaborate website? Or do I just need something that's real quick and simple? Basically, that's really all you need, right? So now think about that. Now I'm gonna write that down. Thank you. So I need a landing page.
Yeah, to get started.
Right. So now to get started. And so everything else will come after that. I even created the questionnaire that you guys are going to be using when you come to my stuff for my thing. And I'm just like, dude, I knocked all this shit out within a very short period of time. Today, in today's time, you don't need a website anymore. Like you just said, you just need a landing page. You just need something that has a who, what, where, why, when, how, and if. That's it. How do I pay you? Right. Where do I pay you? How do I get my receipt? What do you do? Where's your social media? Where's the testimonials? What is it about you? And that's basically it. You ain't got to create all this other shit because don't nobody care about it no more.
Well, let me show you.
Also need to make go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up because I'm pulling it up now.
I was going to say, then you also want to create your email list or whatever because you want your own everything in general because you don't just want to keep all your stuff on YouTube and all these other sites because if and when they switch things up, I've seen people's whole entire companies go under.
Yep.
Because YouTube or Facebook or Instagram switched it up. And here's the thing, whether you know it or not, they don't give a fuck about you or your business. I'm just telling you, they don't care. Whether you're Joe Rogan or whomever else you're going to be, they don't care. But I'll let you take the rest of it because I got to get moving in a second. So show me what you got to show me.
So one of the things I'm showing is this is the website I designed. Like this is my first website, the one I created for I Sell Words. You know what I'm saying? Dead simple. I did it all myself. I didn't pay anybody else to do it. And it's really simple. It's 3 pages. Services, contact information, and I need to update a few things, but services, contact information, and that's what it is. It doesn't have to be this elaborate monstrosity that people need it to be. And so unfortunately, people try to make it too complicated. And so that's the reality. They try to make things too complicated.
Is this your landing page?
Yeah, so it started out as a landing page. Yeah, so where I send somebody, this is where I send them, landing page. And I'm editing the landing page to put a call to action on there because I changed some stuff up. But you don't need a heck of a whole lot. This is my landing page. This shows you everything that I do right here. And so a lot of times people way overthink what this stuff needs to look like. I use Squarespace. There's plenty of other ones out there. Squarespace is easy for my money.
I use Wix.
Wix works too. You could even run a WordPress. WordPress doesn't cost a heck of a whole lot. It just requires a little bit more effort, but it's probably the most powerful one of them all. And so what I'm saying is this: you don't need a heck of a whole lot to get started. Don't overcomplicate the starting part of it when you're getting started with the business, because you don't need all this extra stuff that people are trying to sell you. You just need to be willing to put in the time on the front end so that you can streamline your launch and get to making the money up front. So what we talked about is why most business owners fail. We'll do a quick recap, and then Fearless got to go, and I got to download this so I can get this uploaded. Lack of market need is number one. You didn't assess who's going to buy your product. Running out of cash is number two. That's poor cash flow management. Poor business model and pricing. You didn't price your business to where you wanted to be positioned in the market. And so you're not making enough money, or you got sucked into Groupon and you're paying 50% on everything that they send your way. 4, bad marketing and sales strategy. That is not really having an idea of what your message is. One piece of free game. if you're a business owner, the thing you need to understand is Facebook is free for right now. There's somebody out there that's going to be fascinated by the things that you think is boring about your business or your service or your product. You need to get on and start creating content talking about what you do. Okay. That will be your best marketing, is just telling people what you do. Number 5, leadership and operational issues. That comes with experience, unfortunately. A lot of people that are really successful in one aspect of life have trouble adjusting to business ownership because it does require experience. 6 is burnout and losing focus. And once you hit that burnout road, a lot of the other previous numbers will lead to number 6. And so it's just being aware of where you are and one of the things that's and the things that are limiting you, and understanding when it's time to get help. Me and Fearless are here to help. In the link below, you're going to see a number to book a consultation with us so we can get together. Or you can jump on the live stream next week. You can jump on
live.
Yeah.
Jump on the live. We're going to keep saying that. Jump on the live.
Jump on the live stream next week. Jump on the live stream next week, and we could do it live, and you can get our input to help you out. But like I said, sometimes, and this is something I picked up from something my wife sent me. Sometimes the mind that created the problem is not the best mind to solve the problem. So sometimes you need to bring in outside help. So
you did. There's one more that you missed, that you added.
Oh,
that you didn't state again, which is comparison.
Comparing your business to other things, and comparing your business to what you're seeing on social media.
There you go.
And so those are the areas where business owners fail. Now, next week, I need to see what we have for next week before we get too far into it. Next week, I think is side hustle to full-time business, when to make the leap. What do you think about that one?
Cool.
So
now I can talk again. I done been there and done that. So we can I got some stories for you. So yes, that's cool.
So tune in next week, 10:15. We're going to talk about side hustle to full-time business. Fearless got a ride. I got to get this stuff down. I got to get this downloaded and uploaded. So thanks for tuning in. And if you got any questions, next time pop in, leave them in the chat. Don't be shy. We all family around here. So I'm Brian.
That part. Fearless.
We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Indeed.
Ooh, hold on a second. There we go.